Hi guys, with Father's Day coming up, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you my version of the perfect full English breakfast. And hopefully you can get some inspiration and maybe treat your dad or the father figure in your life. So I'm going to show you how a chef would cook it. So rather than trying to bring everything together perfectly at the same time, I would personally cook all the elements first, get them exactly perfect, exactly how you want them, get them in a tray, apart from the fried egg, and then while you're cooking the fried egg, you can simply put everything else in the oven for a minute or so just to reheat, and then it'll all come together perfectly at the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start cooking the sausages and the black pudding. So a little bit of oil into my pan. In go the sausages. These are lovely sausages I've got from John, my local butcher at Holt's. Top quality local pork. Very important to get a good quality sausage. And I've got some lovely black pudding as well. Going into the same pan at the same time. And it's important just to keep the control of the temperature in the pan. You don't want to get it too hot. If it does get a bit too hot, simply move the pan off, turn it down a little bit, make sure you always stay in control. At that point, while that's cooking nicely in the pan there, I'm going to prepare my mushrooms. So I've got some lovely portobello mushrooms, and to prepare those, all I'm going to do is pop out the little root in the middle and just peel off. Don't know if you can see that, but if you just grab the skin, it just peels off. So I'm just going to peel the skin off. And I just find that the skin and the root can be a little bit tough, so it can be quite nice just to take that off, and you end up just with a nice tender mushroom in the middle. So I'll pop those in the tray, and this is all being done real time, so I've got everything obviously prepared in advance in terms of I've got everything to hand, I've got all the equipment, I've got all the ingredients, and it's always important to do that really before you start cooking, so you're not running around. Next I've got some lovely vine tomatoes. Just going to take a couple of those, and very carefully I'm just going to put a crisscross in the bottom of the tomato. That's it, in the tray. So 2 tomatoes, 2 mushrooms. Going to season with salt and pepper and a little drizzle of olive oil. Lovely molten salt. And they're going to go straight in the oven at the same time as the sausages and black pudding are cooking. Turn over the sausages. My pan is just getting a little bit hot, so I'm just going to turn the pan down a little bit, keep it under control. I'm going to flip over the black pudding as well now. We've got a nice caramelisation, as you can see that, lovely caramelisation on the black pudding. These are not far off already, so you know the black pudding is very nearly ready. The sausages will take slightly longer, but as soon as the black pudding's ready, I'm going to take it out of the pan and put it onto my tray. So you can see I've turned the pan down a little bit now, so that's back under control. It's not too hot, and that's all you got to do. Not be scared or worried like when the pan gets too hot and starts sort of panicking. Just turn it down, that's it. Lovely colour on those sausages. Not black, but you want a nice golden brown colour on those. The black pudding is now very nearly ready. Got my tomatoes and mushrooms in the oven. They're going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to cook, 200 degrees Celsius. Very important also to sort of clean as you go as well. So clean and tidy while everything's cooking. It's a good opportunity to have a little tidy up, move stuff out of the way that you don't need anymore. So there you can see, they're just lovely golden brown, nice caramelisation on the black pudding. The black pudding can come out. Black pudding's now ready. That's how quick that was. Remember, this is all real time, so I'm actually not editing this at all. This is start to finish, cooking the full English breakfast. And what I'm going to do as well, just add a little knob of butter in with those sausages. It's purely optional, but I just love the flavour of the butter. Just roll those around in that butter. Sausages are now out. You can pour that butter over the sausages and over the black pudding. And now I'm just going to add the bacon into the same pan. 2 rashers of bacon, lovely dry cured smoked bacon again from my local butcher. While that bacon is just crisping up nicely, I'm going to pop these in the oven with the tomatoes and mushrooms. The bacon's not going to take long at all. Personally, I mean, you cook the bacon how you like it. Personally, I like it so that the rind is lovely and golden and crispy, but the actual meat is just cooked. Some people like it completely burnt and crispy. Some people like it less cooked. I just like the fat to be crispy, but not the actual meat. I like the meat just to be cooked. And I don't know if you can see in the pan there, but what happens when you cook it in the pan is it starts to curl up, which is quite good because that allows the fat to stay in contact with the pan and go crispy, while the meat just steams in the pan and doesn't overcook. So that's exactly what I want. Just going to turn the pan up again a little bit now, keeping in control of it all the time. Very nearly ready to turn over. And although I don't have it very often, I do think a full English breakfast is a really nice treat, particularly for a special occasion like Father's Day. I mean, what better way is there to treat your dad or the father figure in your life? So there we go, that is beautifully crispy. The fat is lovely and crispy. I don't know if you can see that. But the meat is only just cooked, lovely and juicy still. So at that point I'm going to turn the pan off. That is now ready to go. And like I say, best way to do it as far as I'm concerned is just to get everything cooked perfectly, separately, and then pop it all in a tray, reheat it through the oven, while you're cooking your fried egg. So the time it takes to cook a fried egg, what, 1 minute? The stuff can be reheating in the oven. Also very important, get your plate in the oven as well. Nothing worse than serving hot food on a cold plate because the food just goes cold very quickly. So while you're reheating that food, also pop your plates in the oven as well. And then you can serve on a nice warm plate. So I've just taken the bacon out of the pan, put it into the tray. So the tomatoes, bacon, sausages and black pudding are all ready. The mushrooms are very nearly there. And I've just had a quick rinse out of my pan because if you want a perfect fried egg, then you don't want all the bits and whatnot in the pan because it's just going to spoil the look of the egg. So giving my pan a little clean out, I'm just going to put the pan back on. Not too high a temperature. For me, I think for the perfect fried egg, you want the pan to be just sort of medium hot, and you almost want to poach the egg in butter rather than fry it too much. Some people like fried eggs crispy. I personally prefer them so they're just perfectly cooked, no colour on them whatsoever, just pure white of the egg white and pure orange of the egg yolk. And obviously we want to keep that egg yolk nice and runny as well. So pan is on. I'm just going to add, first of all, a little bit of olive oil into the pan and then butter, and this just obviously helps stop the butter burning. So quite a good amount, probably about a good 25 grams of butter there, unsalted butter, into the olive oil, and that's just going to melt down nicely. And I've got my, what we call a gazunder. I'll never forget when I first started working in professional kitchens and someone asked me to go and grab a gazunder. And I said, what's a gazunder? And they said, it's basically a spatula. I said, why do you call it a gazunder? They said, because it gazunder. From that day on, I learned that that's what it was called. So the butter's nearly melted. Like I say, keeping the temperature nice and gentle. And at this point, I've got some lovely St. Hugh's eggs. I do normally use local eggs to where I am, but today I just grabbed some of these from the supermarket. They are a really good, nice quality Cornish egg with a really nice, deep coloured orange yolk. So I'll put 2 fried eggs in the pan. Get those out of the way. A little bit of salt and pepper. I've got cracked black pepper, and I've got Maldon salt, which is what I always use, especially being based in Maldon, but I think it's great quality anyway. So I'm just going to check the mushrooms now. I think the mushrooms are probably nearly ready. Yep, they are definitely ready. I don't know if you can see those in there, but they're just lovely and juicy. And I can now add that into the tray with everything else. The eggs are now on frying. Don't waste any of that flavour. So at this point I'm going to put everything, sausages, tomatoes, mushrooms, bacon and black pudding, back in the oven. And my plate is going in the oven as well. So just for about a minute or so while these eggs fry. You can see they're only really gently frying, barely sizzling at all, just gently bubbling away. All I'm doing is just cutting the 2 eggs apart because they're sort of moulded together as one. So now I think there's enough heat left in that pan, so I'm just going to turn the pan off now. and the heat that's left in that pan will finish cooking that last little bit of the egg. And I'm just going to baste some of the hot fat over the top, just to make sure that none of the egg white is still runny, because personally I like the yolk to be completely runny and the white to be completely cooked. I don't like runny egg white. So just basting the hot fat, hot butter and oil over the top. And what you can actually do, I mean, if you've cooked the eggs in an oven-proof pan, you can actually give those a very quick flash in the oven as well, just to make sure that the white on the top is cooked. You don't need to, it's optional, but I'm gonna grab my plate out. It's nice and warm, not too hot. You don't want it sizzling hot, but just nice and warm. I'm gonna pop the eggs into the oven just for 30 seconds. Quick wipe down. And as you can probably see, it's very important to work very tidy. You don't want to get yourself in a big mess. So if you get yourself nice and organised before you start, make sure all the equipment and all the food and the ingredients and everything is to hand. As I say, keeping control of the temperature. If it gets too hot, just turn it down. You're in control all the time. And as I say, clean and tidy as you go, so that I always like to make sure that as I go along, I'm tidying away, I'm wiping down, and that way you're just much more organised. So, those eggs are done. Don't know if you can see, but the egg yolks there are just like wobbling, tremoring away. The white is completely cooked, so they're done. Everything in here is reheated nicely, all steaming hot, ready to go. So it's all cooked perfectly, coloured perfectly, and all hot and ready to plate onto our warm plate at exactly the same time. So I'm going to start with the fried eggs. Just going to allow some of that excess fat just to drip off. I'm just going to go one egg this time, but it's up to you how many you want to do. Now I've got my black pudding. There's on the plate there. My sausage. Bacon. Beautiful roasted vine tomato. And a lovely mushroom to finish. And that is it. Simple as that. My perfect, ultimate full English breakfast. Great little treat for Father's Day, for that father figure in your life. And now I'm going to taste it. Moment of truth. Yeah, the yolk is lovely and runny. Sausage is cooked perfectly. Perfect. Give it a try, and I hope you enjoy it. Let me know.